What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back. Another mock draft Monday, doing a typical league format. You can see our roster positions down below: two backs, two wide receiver, one flex. Typical league. Let's randomize our draft spot. Do it live so you know it's random. I'm actually going to change that just because I think we did eighth last time. So let's just get one more go first. All right, let's do it. Kind of wanted to be in the top six picks if possible, just to give it a little. I think I've done 8, 10, and 12 or something like that in recent weeks. So, oh, dang. I forgot this is how the first pick works. First pick, baby. I will take JT here. Only other guy I'd really consider is Christian McCaffrey. I will take Taylor, though. I just feel like the offense is a little bit more established around him now that Christian McCaffrey really needs it. But yeah, I'll take Jonathan Taylor with that first pick. Let's hide these tiers. We can check out the draft board. So after Jonathan Taylor went CMC, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Cooper Kupp, Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, Justin Jefferson, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, Jamar Chase, Leonard Fournette, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce, CeeDee Lamb, James Conner, Javonte Williams, Deebo Samuel, and Aaron Jones. Brings us to our pick, back-to-back picks. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. High drafted players. So Saquon Barclay still on the board. So is Mike Evans. Obviously still kicked off the draft with JT. Taking a look at who's still available as far as running backs, it probably would be Saquon to me, and he's in a tier amongst himself. There's actually two players at two positions that are in a tier amongst themselves to me. So I'm going to take them here. Saquon Barkley I'll take with this pick. I just feel like he's going to get a ton of volume. I still believe he's a talented player. They added some additions to the offensive line that should hopefully help bring in Brian Daboll as well. I think should all help the equation for Saquon Barkley as well as being 2 years removed from that ACL injury. The other guy is Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans will get off to a real hot start to the season with Chris Godwin recovering from a torn ACL. No Antonio Brown. Obviously, Rob Gronkowski's retired, at least for now. So he can get off to a big start, I think, target-wise with Tom Brady and how much that offense throws. He's been a wide receiver one and had 1,000 yards every year in his career. He hasn't been a wide receiver one, I don't think, every year in his career. Maybe he has. But I know he was wide receiver one last season. Taking a look at who is available now. Okay, some wide receivers do jump out to me. There is one guy I will definitely be taking. And taking a look at the running backs, man, this is tough. It comes out of two players in my mind here. It's between Breece Hall and J.K. Dobbins at the running back position for me. I do want to take one more running back. And then wide receiver, I'm going to take Courtland Sutton here. Really believe in him. He's a high floor as well as a high ceiling player. I love to draft players like that. So I'll take him here. I'm for sure taking him. And then we'll figure out who we're going to take, either Breece or J.K. Gosh, this is tough. I'll take J.K. Dobbins just because I believe in the offense more overall than the Jets. Obviously, I think J.K. will probably split a little bit more work, although Breece Hall will probably split some work with, what's his name? I'm having a tough time thinking. Michael Carter. He'll split some time with Michael Carter. Back to the cheat sheets. Let's continue this draft. Okay, Elijah Moore is still sitting on the board. I do think he has a high ceiling this year. I think he's a very good player. There is more competition for targets there, though, now with the 10th overall pick of Garrett Wilson. And they have Corey Davis returning, obviously, as well. Amon-Ra St. Brown is still out there in Detroit. He could, another guy I think could get up to a hot start just because Jameson Williams won't be playing early, but he will have Hockenson back. And when he went on that run, Hockenson was out for most of it, so he really was the only target in town. Looking at who's still available, I will take... This one's a tough one. You know what? I'll take Gabriel Davis. I really believe in him in year two in that Bills. I mean, not year two. Year three for him, but in that Bills offense as the number two receiver, I really think he will, establish that role. We saw Emmanuel Sanders was valuable for fantasy last year. I think he could do that with maybe even a little bit more touchdown upside. We will see, though. And then back to that roster view. So I got one receiver on the bench. I know I shouldn't. I want to take one more running back here. I want to take Miles Sanders. I just want to pull the trigger and do it. I know he's not going to get back to me. But taking a look at some of these receivers, it's going to start to thin out big time here. You know what? I'll take Miles Sanders. You can never have too many running backs. And then I'll really just hit wide receivers after this. I feel like I've got 4 good options at the running back position. So now I can really double down on receiver and just give it a shotgun approach at the wide receiver position. Fill in some depth there. Okay, let's see. So Christian Kirk is still available. He is interesting to me in that Jags offense. I think they will utilize him in the slot a little bit more. We saw him succeed very well in that position in in Arizona whenever he was utilized there. I'll take him. Just with that big contract as well. You have to think that they're going to give him the ball one way or another. I really like the point that you can get him in drafts. I will take. Gosh, what round are we in? 9th round. Man, he feels like a steal here. I really am interested in T.J. Hockenson at this point in the draft. You know what? I will take him. I don't know if I have a team yet that's had Hockenson. I do think people are sleeping on him a little bit too late if he's going in the 9th round of drafts, to be honest with you. Okay, wide receivers. Quarterback still available. There's enough high-end guys still that I think are real solid that I could pair with a potential high upside guy like Lance. So I'm going to continue to wait on that position a little bit longer. I'll take a shot on Marquez Valdes-Scantling from Kansas City just because he could be the number one there. Do I think obviously Travis Kelce's going to be the number one receiving option, but I'll take a chance on him. I will also pull the trigger on Tim Patrick out in Denver with Russell Wilson. I think he's a good receiver. Obviously, Russell Wilson is very talented, so I think it's a good upgrade for him, a good situation all around. Okay, now we're getting down to it. I am actually going to pull the trigger on Trey Lancer in the 12th round. I just feel like the upside that he gives me with his legs, as well as the narrative around his finger being broken that really changed their game plans last year, does change the way I view him a little bit as a more positive light headed towards this season. Taking a look at his still available, Jamison Crowder now in Buffalo. It's a nice move for them. More of a football team move, though, in my opinion, and probably a big-time fantasy producer, although he probably slides into that Cole Beasley role. I think that is a role that fits his skill set well. I'll take Van Jefferson here. I think he's being a little bit underdrafted, especially the way the roster is currently constructed. He might be a little bit tough if Allen Robinson is getting a lot of targets, but if Allen Robinson is an absolute stud, then I think he could have a big role with the way the roster is currently constructed. I'll take a swing as well on Marvin Jones Jr. I think he was a good receiver whenever he was in Detroit as well as when he was in Cincinnati, and now get a reminder of that building. I know he had a bunch of issues with him, and everyone I've ever heard has spoken of Marvin Jones Jr. as an absolute pro. Also take the flyer on Tyler Algier here, 5th round pick for the Atlanta Falcons. Not a ton of running back depth on that team right now. He's a guy who could win that job. So let's go over the roster. We got Trey Lance, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barclay, Mike Evans, Courtland Sutton, T.J. Hockenson, J.K. Dobbins, Gabe Davis, Miles Sanders, Christian Kirk, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Tim Patrick, Van Jefferson, Marvin Jones, and Tyler Algier round out the roster. Honestly, really glad with the approach I took. I feel like I do have some high upside guys somewhat at the wide receiver position. Some of these later rounds, at least some guys will end up being solid for me. I'll have enough wide receiver depth, and I like my running back depth as well. Quarterback might be my weakest position, and I feel like I've got a solid contributor at that tight end spot. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section down below. Make sure you check out my fantasy football profiles. More of those coming your guys' way. Until next time, this is Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys so much for watching.